About 10 minutes into Thursday's episode of The View, the show was brought to a swift halt. As Whoopi was voicing her thoughts on how it can be brave to admit you're afraid of something, she suddenly seemed confused. Leaning in, she asked, "I'm sorry, what?" before asking everyone to hold on. "I'm getting some kind of message from Paul, 68, said as the camera cut to a producer in front of the stage. He was signaling that the show needed to go to commercial. "Paul, we're right in the middle of it," Sunny Hostin cried out. I see, Whoopi said, tight-lipped. "This is very brave of me." "We'll be right back," she said jokingly as the show went to commercial. The crowd laughed at Whoopi's quip before the break began. Earlier in January, Whoopi was called out by one of her co-stars on The View for getting up out of her seat. Alyssa Farah Griffin said that Whoopi left the building after the awkward moment. When The View came back from commercial break on Tuesday, Whoopi, 68, and her co-hosts began a new topic. She closed a book that she was writing in and said, "Hi, now, here's some news you really want to hear." A guy wrote into the Guardian's advice column because his wife always enjoyed when he gave her a foot massage until he admitted he had a foot fetish, Whoopi said. Now foot massages are off the table. He thinks it's a little weird that as soon as he revealed that the massages also gave him pleasure, his wife withdrew. "Is the idea of a fetish a turn-off for you?" she ended. Whoopi then turned the discussion over to her co-hosts, who gave varying opinions. WHOPI run. Barely 1 minute into the conversation, Whoopi stood up out of her chair. Alyssa, 34, was in the middle of her statement when the moderator said, "Excuse me for a second. Keep talking." Whoopi walked over to a producer to hand them the notebook she was writing in. "Whoopi has left the building," Alyssa laughed. She and Sunny Hostin continued talking as Sarah Haynes and Joy Behar turned their attention to what Whoopi was doing. The actress eventually returned to her seat after a few seconds. "What were you doing?" As the conversation went on, Whoopi did not participate in it. Instead, she let her co-hosts talk as she sat with her chin in her hand. When the conversation was done, Joy, 81, turned to Whoopi and asked, "What did you just get up from the table for?" "Because I was so enamored by what you were saying that I felt like I just needed to take a breath to get myself together, so I could come back to the table," Whoopi responded. "So I just got up and walked away and just got myself together." "This is what my feet do to people," Joy joked. "This is what this conversation does to people," Whoopi responded. "I don't care because my feet are huge, and no one wants to touch them." The producer then signaled for Whoopi to go to commercial, which caused her to tell those tuning in that the show would be right back.